Why become a pilot? People think that other people become pilots to become rich and to travel to new locations. While some of that is true, it takes a lot of work and a lot of time to get to those spots. The hardest part is the initial flight training. You'd better have big pockets and a lot of patience. Flight training is very expensive and it can take time depending on where you're training. In North Dakota, we seem to weather a lot of flights, and a lot of people seem to fall behind on track to graduate. We continue to train because we love to fly, though, and we love to be in a small, cramped cockpit that can be cold, and we share it with another person flying through storms and turbulence for hours on end. And a few other realities that pilots face are being away from home for long periods of time. Pilots can be fatigued when they have to work, and they have to be exposed to sick passengers. Although balancecareers.com has published 7 wrong reasons to become an airline pilot. Number one, the money. Everybody believes that pilots are paid really, really well, but in reality, you won't be paid really, really well for a couple years. Usually 4 or 5 years later, then you'll start making more money. Number two, for awards. Most pilots are not given awards unless they're in the Air Force. Commercial airline pilots, awards they would be given would be upgrades to a new airplane or to be promoted to a captain. Another reason, number three, would be for fame. In aviation, you don't really want to be famous, at least nowadays. Nobody's going to be breaking records or altitudes. Most of the time, you'll be famous for landing an airplane in a river. Captain Sullenberger is still haunted by the FAA. They tried to remove his license and charge him for landing an airplane in the river. The next, number four, would be travel perks. Normally, when you're working, so you're going to fly to an exotic location, but you'll land at 9:30 that night and you'll have to leave at 6:30 the next morning. You don't really have a whole lot of time to explore and see the culture. Nice hotels would be number six. The airline will usually have deals set up with certain hotels, but that's only when you're flying. When you're commuting to your next flight and you have to stay overnight somewhere, normally either the pilot will have to get a hotel room or he'll find somebody who has a crash pad. A crash pad is usually the size of our suite style dorms at UND, but they will house 6 to 8 pilots and they'll usually stay overnight for a small rental fee, and then they'll fly out the next morning. And then number seven, a relaxing job. Aviation in general is not a relaxing area, but being a pilot in the cockpit, you're always doing something. You're flying the airplane. You could be talking to air traffic control, or you could be deviating around a storm. And it's just as busy on the ground. You're always briefing for your next flight or your next leg. But then, to leave you on a good note, SOAR Aviation has 5 perks of flying. Number one, like I said before, most pilots love to fly. Number one is getting paid to do what you love. Number two, travel benefits. So on your days off, you can fly anywhere for free, usually. Number three, all the kids love aviation and they will always come and talk to the pilot. Number four, the view. Being up at 5 or 10,000 feet and being able to see for miles and miles around is just amazing. And number five, the feeling. Most pilots just love flying. That's the reason I got into it, was the feeling. I always loved flying, and being able to fly myself is just an amazing experience. Thank you.